Good morning, gardening friends. This is Amy here. Today we are in my back garden, and I thought I'd take you for a walk about just to show you what is blooming right now. It's bursting with colors. A lot of things are in bloom, beautiful flowers, and yeah, let's take a look. Let's start off right here. This is the new rose that I got this year. Very fragrant. I love her scent. The label says it's a type of rose called Heritage. It's supposed to be light pink, but it is more lavender-ish. But I have found with this batch of roses that I've got, the label has been wrong. But you know what? Nevertheless, I love her coloring and I love her scent. So I guess it's a pleasant mistake, if you will. Very pretty, super scented. So this is right at my place, right where my backyard entryway or doorway is, and it's in a pot. And when I open the door to come out, oh my goodness, the smell is so gorgeous. And here my planter's finally coming along. I have some pansies that I grew from seeds. This one took forever to flower, but look, she's finally producing pretty little flowers. I usually don't go for pansies, but I gotta say they have grown on me this year. So I think for sure next year I will be seeding or starting more pansies for sure. And you know what? Surprisingly, the flowers or the blooms last pretty long. We're into June already, and look, the flowers are still very vibrant. I'm very happy with that. And then on this side here, I have a begonia right here. Love this color. And I love this type of double begonias. It's so pretty. And it's doing quite well. It gets some sun, but not a tremendous amount of sun. And this begonia right here, I bought from Costco in a package of, I forget, like 8 tubers or something like that. It's a single, but it is massive. Look at the trunk on this thing. Huge, but it did take quite a while to produce flowers for me. Coleus that I have started from seed indoors. I love this color. This is probably by far one of my favorite, the one with the pink, dark purple, and then green. Really pretty, and it's grown huge. It's only in the recent years that I have added Coleus to my garden space. Prior to like 2-3 years ago, I've almost never used Coleus, but I've fallen in love with it, and I find it very useful and very what is it? Uh, Very pretty to use amongst other flowers in the garden. Here's a geranium that I have placed here. It's not grown in the ground or anything like that. It's just this base. Now that these flowers are done blooming, it was completely bare, so I added this geranium just to add a pop of color. There is a rose beside it. It's coral drift, but she's not doing that great this year because I dug her up last year. She was way on the other side there, so I dug her up and placed her here, and she's not very happy, but she's doing okay. She's recovering. There's some new growth on her, so I think that's a good sign. I have some hydrangeas in here. So this one is a white Annabelle, and then I have an endless summer here. She's pink, and she is, look, if you look closely, she is loaded with buds, flower buds. So this will be all pink in about a week or two. And then I got roses on that side there. And look at my climbing rose, Jasmina. She is finally in bloom. And then, of course, my wisteria. It is almost about done soon. It's at the tail end of its blooming cycle. I will be removing the flower buds off of this. If I don't, they form seeds, and they do self-seed. They're not vigorous or aggressive self-seeders, but they do. And then I also want to kind of take off the bloom so that it can focus its energy on the root systems and whatnot instead of forming seed pods. I have a penstemon here. It's not forming as many flower buds or blooms as the ones out in the full sun. but it's doing quite well. Oh yeah, and then of course these are the spring flowers that I bought earlier in the season. This is the second flush, not as full, of course, not as abundant as the first flush, but still some flowers, and they're doing quite well in the pots that I've placed them in. So pretty, look at that. Some alyssum. I actually seeded a whole bunch of alyssums indoor. This one I think is royal carpet. I just love this combination. Look, it's like white in the middle and then purple all around. Really pretty. It gets a bit leggy like this, so what I do is I trim it off, and then in a few weeks it'll flush back out and becomes a bit more bushier. Oh, look at Thomas A. Becket. So pretty, super fragrant. The blooms are not that big, but I love the formation in the center here. So this is a new bloom, so it's a darker color. Once it a little bit more mature age, you can tell the difference in the coloring. Very, very pretty. I think it's a climber. I thought it was a shrub type of rose, but it kind of grew up like this, and then it's sending out all these blooms like this. So I think I rather like it this way. So I'm going to keep it this way, letting it trail up this pergola post here. And then of course I have some clematis planted amongst there. So it is starting to finally, I grew it last year, it didn't do much. This year it's starting to sneak into between the lattice there, and then it's starting to come out on this side. So this is so pretty. Love this dark purple color. So yeah, I think eventually maybe it will just intertwine into this rose, climbing rose here, Jasmina. And here is Jasmina, super pretty, super fragrant. And she grows in a cluster like this. And look, finally, the rose and wisteria, they are growing into each other, which is something I've been waiting for a long time to happen. Tons of buds still, look at that, loaded. This is her, I've had her probably, I'm gonna guess about 5 years, maybe going on 6, maybe not. But this is her best year ever with so many blooms. And my gosh, I stand right at this spot. It is super fragrant because you're getting the scent from Thomas A. Becket and then also Jasmina here. It smells so nice. Here is the middle section of my garden. If you've seen my previous video, you would know that this whole section is all potted flowers. Without the pots, it would be just gravel. So every summer, for the last 2 summers now, I put pots in the middle to form a small garden space. Let's look at this purple rose that I absolutely love. This one I bought many years ago. I have no idea what the actual name is, but through my research and some homework online, my best guess is probably Poseidon. I'll put the name on the screen. It seems to fit the description quite well, so that would be my best guess. And look, she's all budded up, quite a bit of blooms, and then she grows in a cluster like this. Very vigorous grower, like she gets massive. So I usually cut her down to about waist high, and then she sends up really tall canes in the summertime. So this is her first flush. She usually gives me a second flush during the summertime. So I bought these false indigo, what is this? Oh my goodness, Baptisia, last year. It was a small plant. Didn't do a whole lot. This year is not doing a whole lot except form a whole bunch of leaves. So I guess it's expected. It's only its 2nd year. So I'm hoping 3rd year next year, it will give me more flowers. I got some lilies here planted in a pot. They overwintered for me last year, and it has formed a really big clump here. So look at all the flower buds. These should be opening in the next couple weeks would be my best guess, and they're really pretty, super scented when they are in bloom. I got some Gomphrena here that I started from seeds. Really pretty, they're in pots. The reason I put these in pots is because then I can change them around, move them around to change my arrangement. I have a few of them dotted around this middle section. And this is one of my roses I have in the middle section here. Is pink in color. I think this is called La France. It has some buds. It used to be my front garden. I had to remove it, and then now it's planted in a pot. It recovered really well, sending out a whole bunch of new growth. It's only in its second year with me. I bought it last year. Last year I think I had like maybe 2 to 3 blooms. This year, look at all the buds on her. So I think she's quite happy. And here we have Cleome. I love this plant. I used to grow the ones that have like the one stem all the way up and then really tall. This year I thought I changed things up and I bought this one. I think this is a proven winners one. Yes, it is here. So it should form a really pretty clump for me. This is my first year growing this variety. And this one is also a new addition in my garden. It is called Purple Prelude. It's a type of Nepeta. And I just love this dark purple color. It's very different from the lighter purple that I usually see. Fell in love with it. I grabbed three pots of it. So one is here in the middle section, and then I have 2 planted in the ground on that side there. So we'll come around and I'll show you. This is a Burberry. I love this color. My sister actually helped me grab this because last year I couldn't find it anywhere for a good price, and she happened to come across one and she bought it for me. Super happy. It's in a pot and it overwintered really well for me. Here's a geranium. Don't you just love this color? I'm trying to find a darker color of this, but I haven't been able to locate it yet. But yes, so pretty. I love geraniums because they flower all summer long and they're very heat tolerant. So even if you forget to water for a bit, it dries out a tiny bit, it's okay. It doesn't die on you. So very forgiving in that way. And they come in so many different colors. So this one I do plan to bring it indoors to overwinter because I really like this color and I don't want it to die on me and not have it around. Another favorite here is Gara. I love having Gara in my garden, but the only thing with Gara I found, I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or not, but in the last 2 years I've been trying to overwinter them, both in pots and also in ground, but they have not come back for me. So I think these will be annuals in my garden. They don't survive, they haven't been able to survive my winter. So, but look how pretty they are. And the bees, look, oh, talking about bees right there. Oh, look at this cute guy. Loaded with bees and pollinators all summer long. It's one of their favorites. The only thing with Gara I found in my experience is that they usually get attacked by aphids quite often. So usually I would just spray it down really hard with the garden hose and they seem to go away, and then they do come back. But you know what, it doesn't kill the plant, so I don't usually spray them with anything. So this is Tournament of Roses that I got this year, but honestly the tag has, this is the tag for it, but the color that came out, the 4 blooms that I got earlier, did not look anything like the picture. So I think it's another mislabel or something, but it's okay. Kind of growing on me, but I wasn't crazy about the color at the beginning. So it's forming new buds right now. Let's see what color comes out of this this round. My penstemon. Ah, love this. So these are fairly new to me. I started growing them last year only, to be honest, but I loved it so much I got 2 additional ones. This one is in a pot and I have one that is in ground, and they all overwintered really well for me, both in ground and also in my pots. Aren't they so pretty? The bees love these guys. More Cleomes here. And super impressed with Alyssum. So this batch here I grew, of course, from seeds. This is the white variety, and they have done so well. We've had some pretty hot weather and they've held up pretty well. And same goes with the candy tuft here. So this is a annual variety that I started indoor from seeds, and I just love this color. This is a variety pack, so this is a darker kind of like lavender color. It also has this pale pinkish color too, which is equally as gorgeous. Very, very pretty. It's too bad these are annuals. I would love to have this around every year, but they will definitely be ones that I will reseed again indoors for next year. Another, like I mentioned earlier, pansies. Usually I don't grow them, pansies or even violas, but this year I've decided to add them to my garden, and I'm so happy I did, because look how pretty they are. And the blooms last so long. It did get a little bit leggy, but what I'm experimenting with is that I chopped off half of the stem. I'm trying to propagate the top half, and I'm waiting to see if the bottom half will bush out or not. So we shall see. But yeah, definitely another flower that I will be seeding and growing in my garden again for sure. I just love the flowers and the variety of colors, and they play so well with all of the other colors that I currently have in my garden. A new rose I got this year, Earth Angel. I've never grown this one ever before, and look at it. Isn't it not pretty? Starting to open up. I love this white with the very pale baby pink in the center here. So first year, quite a few blooms, so I'm quite happy with how she's growing, and she's grown in a pot. So far, no black spots or any rust on the leaf, which is I'm very happy about, because last year and this year I have had some plants or some roses that suffered from that. So pretty. Oh my gosh, look at that. Very, very pretty. Another pot of my Cleome. I have some lilies. This is a pot where I call it the mumbo jumbo combo, because I have all sorts of flowers all planted in one of this huge pot that I have here. So I do have a peony that is in the center here, but because it is grown first year from, what is it, what are they called, tubers, or they call from bulbs? I don't know, one of those, but it's not huge. So I planted other plants around it just so that it's not bare this year, and one of which is these lilies. These are going to be gorgeous when they are in bloom, and they're all budded up. And I started those, I bought those from Costco, from bulbs, and then I started them indoors, planted them out when the weather got warmer. Here are some snapdragons I started indoors also, from seeds. And these are supposed to be perennials, so let's see if they overwinter for me in this pot or not. That would be great if they do. That'd be really, I'll be so happy with that. Poppies that I sprinkled some seeds in this pot, and they actually took, and they are now forming flower buds. I think these are called the bread variety. They're annuals for me in my climate, but they do self-seed, so it's great. And they come in a variety of different colors, so I can't wait to see which color these ones are. And these are from seeds I collected from flowers I grew last year, so I didn't have to buy new seeds. This pot here, oh look, it's starting to open, yay! Lilies, more lilies. And then I interplanted with some hostas, and believe it or not, these are baby hostas that came from a mother hosta. I had no idea these self-seeded, or they even, you know, produce seed to self-seed in the first place, but super happy. This is his second year. First year was teeny tiny, and look how lovely they are this year. Dark coloring in the back, and then this variation of, like, I don't know, brown coloring, but it's really pretty, planted in a combination like this. Oh, look at this, another poppy. So this one's self-seeded. I grew some, I used to plant a whole mass of them right here with different colors. It comes in a variety pack. So I guess this one survived, and it made it through this year. Here I have Delish. She is so pretty. Look at the coloring. And what I like about her coloring is she's dark on the underside here. And then she's lighter in the center here. Her flower size is pretty big, so just using my hand so that you have an idea. I think I mentioned before that last year she didn't do very well. I thought at one point she might die on me, but this year she's starting to flush back. She's still tiny. It's her 3rd year, yes, in my garden. I don't know why she wasn't doing so well, to be honest with you, but I'm happy that she's making a comeback. And here right next to her I have a yellow rose. Not sure what it's called because I bought it like probably over 10 years ago. It does pretty well in my garden. It grows in a cluster at the top like this, and the coloring is dark yellow in the center and then lighter on the outer. But through, again, my research, I think it might be something called Sweet Jane. If anyone out there knows what this variety might be called, please let me know in the comments below. And here is my summer romance. She's finally bouncing back and doing quite well. Look at her beautiful blooms. They grow in a cluster like this. Flowers aren't ginormous. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's small, but it's definitely on the small side rather than on the big side. Look how pretty she is. So she has bounced back really nice. Last year she was tiny, did not give me that many blooms, but this year she's quite happy. I think one of the reasons why this patch is doing much better this year is because I removed a really tall, huge evergreen that used to be there. So I had 3 of them. I just felt that it took up too much space. It was kind of like choking out the plants surrounding it. So I removed one of them. And I think it was a good decision because everything around it seems to be bouncing back and doing really nicely. So right there is my endless hydrangeas that I showed on the other side, the other view, and this is from this side. It's gonna be gorgeous when it's in full bloom. So this one right here is called Strike It Rich. And this one is an older bloom. New one looks like this. So the new one has more of a golden color to it with tiny bit of a hint of orange. But once it matures, you can see it has a tiny bit of pinkish around the edges. So Strike It Rich did not give me that many blooms last year. Also, I think it was this one it's been in my garden for only this year's the 2nd year. So it's doing quite well. And look at this one. It sent up this tall stalk right here, a stem right here, and it's like loaded with buds. I think once it's done blooming though, I will cut it down so that it's more uniform to the rest of the branches. Right now it's just really awkward. It's just really tall. And it's touching my hydrangeas right here. This hydrangeas I've had for a long time. I have no idea what it's called, but it has white flowers, but not like your typical Annabelles or anything like that. Yeah, I don't know what it's called. So I limbed it up. I removed all of the lower branches. I'm trying to form it into a tree eventually. Here's another rose. This one is called Cosmo Fairy Tale. It's a whitish blush kind of color rose, super thorny. One of the most thorniest rose I have in my garden. But look at this year. It has so much flower blooms. It's just starting to open right now. And once it's open, this is what it looks like. So it's like a single flower type of rose, but it comes in like clusters and clusters of blooms. Look at this. This is all its flower buds. 2nd year in my garden also. It's doing really well. I'm super happy. Look at my clematis, the purple one. This color is so pretty. This one is 2nd year in my garden as well. Last year was very small. This year it's much bigger. Still doesn't have that many blooms, but it's okay. It's growing nicely, so I'm happy. And right beside the clematis, I have my pretty lady rose. I love this color. And her bloom, look, massive. Really, really big. Not very scented. I don't know if I mentioned before, but last year she grew in a cluster. This year, just a single rose. So I don't know why the change, what made it change, but yeah, this is what I got. I'm hoping though, towards the end of the season, which she did last year. She pushed out way more flowers. So this first flush here is not a lot. I'm hoping towards the middle of the season or the end of the season she'll give me more roses because she's gorgeous. I love her in my garden. And right beside Pretty Lady, I have Sunbelt South Africa, another kind of yellow, golden yellow, peach, not peachy, sorry, orangey rose. She did really well. This is half of her blooms right now only because the other half have, you know, faded. It's done blooming, so I have deadheaded and removed those ones. But yeah, she has done really well this year. Second year in my garden. Really pretty. Not scented or anything really. Very faint smell of, I don't know how to describe the scent, but very, very faint. And finally, Delaney's sisters. They are in bloom. Look at that. So pretty. It's like a two-tone rose. Whitish cream in the center, and then you have pink on the outer. And she's also loaded with buds. But these are the first two blooms that just opened this week. And then right beside Delaney's sisters, you have Dark Desire, one of my favorite in the garden. Favorite because of its coloring and also of the formation of the blooms right here. I love this center. So pretty, and look at the color. I don't know if the camera's able to really pick up its true color, but very, very pretty. I would love to have a second one of her planted somewhere else, to be honest with you, because I like her so much. Look at that. And the bloom size is quite decent. I would say more towards the large size in terms of bloom size. And right beside Dark Desire, I have Pink Promise. This is an older bloom. Light pink. This one is also on its tail end too. It probably will be dropping its petals today or not tomorrow. But a new one will look like this. And then this one is in a tighter formation. So pretty. Last year, again, this is the second year in my garden. Last year it didn't do a whole lot. I think I maybe have one or two blooms. This year she's doing a lot better. And then I have Sunny Knockout right beside there. This one, I have two of them. This one is the smaller one of the two. They seem to always suffer from some kind of pest. Yeah, so it's never really taken off. It's third year, I believe, in my garden now. And you know, through 3 years in the garden, you kind of expect it to be a lot bigger, but it isn't, because like I mentioned, it's always suffering from some kind of pest issues. But it's doing, I think this year is its best year in all the 3 years I've had it. And look at this one. Oh my God, poppies. First bloom of the season. So pretty. This one self-seeded itself. In a bit of an awkward spot right in front of my border, but you know what? I'm just gonna leave her alone, let her do her thing. And snapdragons that I have started from seed. Love this color. Plays so well with everything else in my garden. They are supposed to be perennials, so I'm hoping to see them come back. One of my favorite kind of filler flowers that I have in my garden. I love it so much that I bought 3 additional ones to scatter across my the rest of my garden. So it's a perennial. It comes back for me every year. This is its second or third year, I can't remember, but yeah, it is so pretty. It sends out these little tiny balls. I think it should be in the Scaviosa family if I'm not mistaken, but yeah, very pretty. It starts to bloom about now, and it doesn't stop until first frost, I believe. And it spreads. So when I first bought it, it was a small clump. It now is from here to here. So it does spread, but it's not vigorous or anything like that. I don't mind the spreading whatsoever. Amongst that, I got my snapdragon, a white one. And in this pot here is a barrel pot. It's pretty big. I have, again, a mumbo jumbo of different variety flowers in there. In the center there is a peony, first year in my garden, so it's teeny tiny right now. While it's growing, I have snapdragons planted amongst her, and then also lilies that are should be blooming in the next couple weeks or so. I actually really enjoy kind of combining a whole bunch of flowers in one pot like this, because they don't all bloom at the same time. So when one is out of bloom, you still have the other flowers, so the pot itself does not look bare, which I really like. And in another pot, I have some foxgloves that I started indoors and are planting in pots. These ones surprised me a little bit. I don't know if this is going to be the same variety, but there are the same batch that I grew. It's starting to send up flower stalk, which surprised me because usually they're biennials and they don't send out flower stalks until the following year. So I am so excited if they do happen to flower for me this year. And here are the alyssums that I grew from seed. This is the white variety, and then these are the purple one. Are they not so pretty? And these usually flower for me all summer. I just have to trim them back when they get a bit too leggy. And I have here a purple salvia. I bought 3 of these from Costco last year, or is it the year before? They come back for me, but they don't come back huge. They're on the small side, to be honest. The only one thing I don't like about this variety is they tend to flop over a little bit. So I do have bamboo sticks here to stake them up to help keep them upright. And then here's another clump of it, but I do love the color though. It's a deep purple, and even once it's done flowering, if you notice here, it retained its purple dark burgundy color stems. And once again, I have the bamboo stick here to stake them up to keep them stay upright. Otherwise they just lean right over, which is a bit of a messy look, and I don't like that. Here I have some yarrows that I've planted. I think this might be its 3rd year in my garden. It is a perennial in my area, but I have found that over the years the clump is smaller than previous year. But they do overwinter nicely. A certain variety, not all variety I should add. These 2 in particular do come back, has come back every year for me so far. I have other ones that I've planted, they have not come back. So I don't know what the difference is or what the reason is, but yes, but I love them in the garden. Here's a pansy I started from seeds. Look, it's starting to grow pretty big and flowering for me. Super happy about that. Another of the purple salvia I have some zinnias that I started from seed. They're not flowering yet, but they are putting a good size, so I'm happy about that. And that is the other one, that spring flower I got earlier in the year, and is starting to put on a second flush. Not as many flowers, so this is the name tag for it. Not as many flowers, but it is putting on a second flush. And I have it in a fairly decent sized pot. I'm hoping to be able to overwinter it, so it will be a fun experiment to see if it will come back. Oh, I don't know if I've mentioned, but in the back patch there, I have some, let's zoom in, dahlias that I grew from seed. It's starting to flower now. There's another dahlias there. I also have some feverfew that I grew from seed. It's starting to put on flower buds. It should be blooming this week or next week for me, I think. Sun King Aurelia is tucked back there. Beautiful foliage color. I think it adds a good backdrop for my roses. In the very back there, not sure if you were able to see, another penstemon, Midnight Masquerade. I like how it's just peeking in the back there because really the bottom is just leaves, right? So it adds some color and a backdrop for these roses. I actually have one there and one planted here. This one was doing really well, put on a whole bunch of growth, and then out of nowhere it decided to die on me. So that's why there's a gap there right now with nothing there, but which is okay. I'm going to leave it empty because I think these two should grow bigger and fill that spot. Okay, let's go over here. Another yarrow right here. This one has done so well this year. Look, the clump even got bigger for me, and it did come back over winter nicely, which I'm very happy about. I have heucheras dotted all around my garden. I love adding these because they add colors without the high maintenance of flower or blooming flowers. So there's no deadheading or whatnot required, but they add such nice color to the garden. All of my Globe Masters allium are done blooming. I'm contemplating whether I want to leave the balls or do I want to lop it off because it's my first year growing them. I feel like if I lop it off, it will send all its energy back into the bulbs and grow better next year. But I kind of like the structure of these balls around here, so we shall see. I haven't decided what I want to do with them yet. Here's one of two of my Moonlight Romantica rose. Is a very light yellow rose. It's done fairly decent this year considering it's the second year in my garden. I would consider the flower medium to large size. I can't tell, to be honest, if it's fragrance or not because it's so far in the back there. I can't smell it from where I am, and it's just too hard to get back there because I have so much other stuff planted around it. And I have a clematis planted right beside her. This one usually do pretty decent in my garden. For whatever reason this year she did not put on that much flowers. I have another false blue indigo baptisia there. Once again, lots of leaves, no flower whatsoever this year. So second year in my garden, hopefully next year it will do better. Dahlias that I grew from seed. Looking pretty with her little tiny flowers. More snapdragons that I grew from seed. They're pretty tall actually, this variety. I think they would make very nice cut flowers. I don't cut flowers into my house. I love them in my garden. I don't, I almost never cut flowers and bring inside. And look at this color, so gorgeous. Oh my goodness. I love growing these. And these are perennials, so I'm so really hoping it will actually come back for me next year. And of course the pollinators love these, especially the bees. And my gems here are starting to complete its flowering cycle. It's about done. I will be snipping off the flower stem soon and removing it. And then the foliage here, the leaves here, does stay green for the remainder of the season. So all you will see will be the foliage once the flowers are done blooming. Oh yeah, I should mention, oh my gosh, I came across these daisy-like purple blue flowers the other day. What are these? I've never grown these before. And super excited to see how they grow for me. But they're so cute, are they not? Tiny little blue flowers. So I grabbed 3 of them. I transplanted them into bigger pots, hoping that they will grow a bit bigger. Another foxglove that I started from seed. I think this batch is going to flower this same year for me. That's crazy. Okay, let's pan over here. My Morden blush is about done her first flush. Look at the cluster, eh? Is that not insane? My goodness, look at that. And I love roses that fade. I think most of them do the same, but the different colors when in different stages of its bloom cycle. But really pretty. Look at that. I have 2 of her in my garden. So one is on this side and one is on this side. This one is performing much better. More blooms, more vigorous. pretty close, but I think this one gets full sun all day and that one partial-ish, because it is sort of shelter or underneath this huge hydrangea tree here. And this is another one of my rose. I have no idea what this one is called. This one has been in my garden forever. Back in those days, I just didn't keep track of the names or the tags whatsoever. So yeah, its color is very pretty. So I've removed a huge rose of Sharon right here. And since then, she has done really well. She's starting to put on a lot more new growth. I'm hoping she will bulk up one day and fill this space. And right beside her, I bought this one last year. This one is Wild Blue Yonder. Similar coloring, and that's why I placed her here. But of course, the formation of the blooms are a bit different. But I thought, you know what, the two colors here will play nicely together. It's not too busy, a little bit more calming. Excuse me for the eyes, because I tend to kind of pop different colors together and I find it is a little bit busy. Here is a volunteer poppy again. Can't wait to see what color I get this time. I really love the purple one that came up last year, so I'm hoping one of these will be purple. And here's another one right here. And more heucheras that I have in my garden. I absolutely love this color. I had 3 of them. 2 came back really nicely. One of them is kind of on its way out. It did not make it, not sure why. My geraniums here, this one in particular is done blooming. So I have trimmed her back because she used to cover this whole area. So I've trimmed her back. This is the last bit that is remaining. And she's putting on seed pods. I've heard that other gardeners have experienced their geranium self-seeding. This one have not done that for me at all whatsoever. I bought one and it's still one in my garden. I wouldn't mind actually it spreading. That would be lovely. And then here is another gem that I have. It was gorgeous earlier in the season. It's called Totally Tangerine, one of my favorite. I have 4 dotted around my garden. Sends out these gorgeous orange, light orange color flowers in the spring. Another of the lily that I got planted here. Look at the flower buds on this one. My goodness, it's gonna be gorgeous. This was a salvia that bloomed already. It is somewhat of a pinkish color, gorgeous. From one plant it covered this whole area. So it's one of my favorite in the garden. But yeah, it's done blooming. I have, cut her back. I'm not sure if she's gonna flower for me again. And even if she does, it's not gonna be that, in terms of flower production, not that great. Here is a coneflower. I have a whole bunch of coneflower dotted all over my garden, but I have to say they don't seem to have winter that well for me this year for some reason. Let's see what color this one comes up. And here is my all dressed up. Look at the pink color in the middle. Oh my goodness, I love this type of roses. So she's pink. And she doesn't have that two-tone at the underside like the other one that I have, such as Delish. She has a little bit of a fragrance, but not strong. So far, this is her 3rd year in my garden. In terms of flower production, she's okay. Hasn't put on like massive growth or anything like that, but she's looking healthy. Usually she doesn't have any diseases or anything like that, so that's good. Black spots or any leaf rust. Between black spot and leaf rust, I would prefer black spot. I do not like leaf rust because the spore seems to spread everywhere. Here's a new one that I got just last fall actually. So it's this first summer in my garden. It's doing so well. It's called Party Hardy. And look at the amount of blooms that it put on this year. This was a pleasant surprise to discover it's doing so well in its 2nd year for me. No fragrance whatsoever, which is okay. And then this is my second Moonlight Romantica yellow rose. I have now trained it to become a climbing rose. I had no idea it could do that, but it is climbing, and I think maybe eventually I'm gonna have it cover this whole back area, which can be quite pretty. I have a lot of phlox dotted all over my garden, different colors. They usually bloom later in the summer though, more like July, August time. Right now they're just putting on size and forming flower buds. Yeah, so there's another variety. This one is a gorgeous pink color. I have now split her and divided her and dotted her across there, so she's somewhere around there. Her divisions are over there. And this one, thank goodness, Easy Does It is still blooming her head off. Look at that. Look at the amount of blooms. So her older blooms will look like this. Her petals are ruffly, has a bit of a ruffle to it, and then her newer ones are more towards the, I would call, apricot peachy color. But I love roses that have different tones like this. So pretty. And then right beside her, I have Living Easy, similar coloring, just that the rose petals are slightly different, but they look so close in terms of colors and whatnot. You almost can mistake them as the same rose. Here's another Sunny Knockout. It's out of the two, this one is a bigger one. It grows in a cluster like this. So this one would be the older bloom, and then the much more vibrant yellow would be a newer bloom. So you can see I have a patch of allium right here. They're all done blooming. I kind of leave the flower heads because it kind of adds structure to the back there and fills up that space. I have some lamb's ear that I have planted here. They're doing quite well. When I first bought it, it was like 2 tiny containers like this. It has now since spread all over here. I have not seen it flower yet because I know these can flower. Obviously people don't grow them for that purpose, but mine have not flowered, which I'm kind of happy about, so I don't have to deadhead it because I don't think I would be keeping the flower even if it did flower. More phlox here. Here is a rose that I bought many years ago. It's called Rosa Blessing. And let me see if I can show you the different coloring. So this is an older bloom, and then right beside it is a newer bloom. The size of the bloom is massive. It is huge. So here's a cluster that is just starting to open. Has tons of flower buds there. I need to deadhead that one soon. I still don't know if I like this color, to be honest with you. This is his 3rd year in my garden, and I'm still sitting on the fence whether I like it or not. It's one of those roses, you know, you look at the picture like, wait a minute, that's not the same color. So right behind her there, I have Invincible Spirit 2. It's light, kind of pinkish color hydrangeas. It's 3rd year in my garden. 1st year did nothing. 2nd year did pretty much nothing. 3rd year, finally, you see flower blooms. So I can't wait to see her flowers. And then behind there, I have a climbing rose, a gift from my next door neighbor. Sat there, I swear, for like 10 years. Did absolutely nothing, but is finally blooming for me, and it is gorgeous. And I have some sweet peas. These are the perennial variety. It comes up back every year for me and is gorgeous. It kind of just weave itself around plants that is close by. This one is going to be very lovely because it's going to intermingle with the roses. And then I have these, what is it? Bellflowers. These come back every year for me, and they spread. And at one point, I thought I have ripped out every single one of them because I love the flowers and the color, but I hate the fact that it leans, it flops over. I have, excuse me, I have to stake it up. So at one point, I ripped everything out, but nope, it's still here, which I don't mind. And this is Fun in the Sun. She's just starting to color up. She should be fully open this week, but she is doing really well this year. Last year she was very small. This is only her second year in the garden, so considering the amount she's new to the garden, she's doing really, really good. Can't wait until she opens this week. And right beside her, I have Dancing in the Dark. And look at the red. I love this type of red. Deep, deep red. No orangey tone to it. I prefer this type of red over the orangey tone ones. And here she is. And she's all budded up. I have two of it. So one is located here and the other one is located here. This one is doing so well since I have removed here. If you watch my previous video, I have a huge Rose of Sharon that was here. Since removing the Rose of Sharon, she has really bulked up nicely. And then beside her, I have more phlox. These actually used to be right here at the beginning of the season. I just felt it was too crowded, so I have removed and placed them in the back instead. And in their place, I mentioned earlier that I bought 3 of these, so 2 of them are right here. I hope it grows a bit taller so that it peeks out a little bit above the rose canopies that I have here. And this one is Aleza. She's finally in bloom. Look at her bloom. This kind of like, what is it, peachy, light peachy ivory color is so pretty. And look at this. Isn't she gorgeous? Flower size, I would have to say medium, not super large, but not on the small side for sure. And this is fully open right here. Ruffly petals, really pretty. Slightly scented. I don't know how you would describe this scent though. Fruity-ish, I guess, but very pretty. I've tucked in a red geranium right here. This spot is a bit bare. It used to have a heuchera. It's under this mesh here, but it's dying. So in its place, I've tucked in a geranium, just add some color. Otherwise, it'll be a big hole right there. This gem here is almost done too. So once it's done flowering, I would chop off the flower stalk here, but it adds such pretty color in the early spring. And then around, oh, here's another volunteer poppy. I just noticed it. I love it when they just self-seed like this. And then I have sedum dotted all over my garden as well. I like how it adds structure, and also it helps support surrounding plants so they don't flop over. And then it sends up pink flower in the fall, which is really pretty. More heucheras. This one I just added this year. Oh my god, look at the coloring. Is it not so pretty? Can't wait until it bush out some more. More Coleus that I started from seed. So let's see if, oh, I cannot forget to mention Peach Glory. She is so pretty. Look at her. I just discovered yesterday while inspecting her, there's a cane right there, really big cane that had a hole in the center. So I think some kind of bug has been eating it. That's why, no wonder she's not doing that well this year. She's smaller than last year by far, like much smaller. But I hope after removing that branch and she forms new stems from the base, she will give me more flowers. But look at the color. Oh my gosh. I can't get over how pretty this color is. These are all new blooms. Gorgeous. More volunteer poppies. And here's another one of my endless summer hydrangeas. I think I mentioned in my previous video, I showed you 2 that were in pots, same variety, and it is budded up quite nicely also. This one is in ground. It did suffer quite a bit of winter damage. I don't know if you can see the difference in terms of height. There was barely anything here, so this is like new growth. Beside that is a Annabelle. It's white in color and is loaded with buds right now. It is massive. I think 10 years ago-ish, maybe 15 even, I was gifted one plant from a neighbor. And since then, I have tons of them dotted all over my garden. These are salvias that I took cuttings from last year, I believe, and they have come back for me and they're growing bigger this year. And that's, look at this color. It is so pretty. Another baptisia, second year in the garden. First year did nothing, second year pretty much nothing, no flowers, but it's putting on nice growth, so I'm hoping next year I would get flower. And another hooker right there. This color is so gorgeous. To be honest, I can't tell if it's a hooker or hookerella, or what is the other name? There's one more. Oh my gosh, why can't I think of it? Anyhow, I can't tell the difference because some of the tags don't even specify really what it is. But some people don't enjoy the flower spike. I actually really like the flower spikes because it adds height to it and it's so whimsical. So I leave them. I don't cut off the flower spikes. These are stalks I started from seed indoors. I will definitely always have these, I think. I just think it looks so pretty and it adds early spring color. It is about done, so you can see here, it's forming seed pods right here. If you save it, which I did, these are from saved seeds from previous years and I replanted them this year. You can save these when they mature and they will come back for you next year if you plant them. Very pretty, definitely doing that again. I am not a big vegetable gardener or anything like that, but I do have some herbs here and there. This is a Vietnamese, what is it, coriander? Is it? Oh, cilantro, sorry, Vietnamese cilantro. So we use this sometimes in our Vietnamese dishes, delicious. And then another, here I got some basils. I don't know why, every time I grow basil, they flower so fast for me, which I really don't like. I keep snipping off and they keep flowering for me. Yeah, but I do use that in my cooking sometimes. And then of course I got the mint. So these are only 3 herbs that I grow in my garden. I propagated these, so I have a second basket of Thai basil and also some mint. And on this side here, let's look at the middle section. More snapdragon. Dragons that I have started from seed. They're in a pot. And then more, was it Gomphrena that I started from seeds indoor. Let's look at the roses here. This one is called Savannah. It's a pink rose, very fragrant. New to my garden this year. I added her this year. Planted in a pot. Has some bloom, not a tremendous amount, but I didn't really expect a lot for a first year anyhow. This is the first year I've grown aster, and I gotta say, it's definitely coming back for me again. I love the color, the height, the texture that adds to my color, to my garden. And these I grew from seeds indoor and planted outside, and I have them dotted all along this middle section right here. I love the color that these are because they play so well with the rest of my flowers. Okay, I have to highlight this one. New to the garden this year. It is called Distant Drums, and look how pretty the flowers are. Oh my gosh. Look, underside is a different color, it's more pinkish, and then it's peachy-ish apricot when it blooms, and then when it matures, it's more pink. These are more mature blooms. And I have some buds still not open yet. First year, doing extremely well, so happy with it. And of course I got here the geraniums that I started from seeds, doing really well, finally bulking up and sending out more flower spikes. Dusty Millers that I started from seeds, doing extremely well in full sun. This is probably the first year I've grown this, to be honest with you, in my garden. I've never really have them or added them in my garden before. These are petunias that I started from seeds. Super easy to germinate, 100% success rate, and I just love this super deep color. Plays really well with the rest of my color scheme. Penstemon, Midnight Masquerade. This one is probably one of the bigger patch or plant that I have. It is planted in a pot over winter very well for me here. so far. I've only lost one so far. And here is, I have 4 of these Sun King Aurelia and 2 in pots. This one is in a pot. It is a bit of a lighter color if it's in full sun. If it's in a shaded area, let's see here. So it'll be a tad darker in color if you put it in a shaded area. But I love the pop-up color it provides in my garden. This is the other midnight penstemon here, also in a pot. So this area is filling up nicely with a lot of blooms. There's constantly bees buzzing all day long in my garden. I haven't seen a lot of butterflies yet. I'm not sure why, but last year I had more butterflies. This year I have not seen as many. But I'm just really loving how this garden is coming along. I have been experimenting with different flowers and different colors that I normally don't use, one of which is like Coleus. I've never really used many in my garden, but this year, and last year I had a few, but this year I have way more. I grew all these from seeds. So happy. This is one of my favorite. Love that coloring. And I've been experimenting in terms of propagating them. Super easy to propagate. Lop off the top, put it in some soil, make sure to cover it and not let it dry out. You got new plants. And of course the alyssum is a pleasant addition to my garden. I think I will always have this color grown in my garden, so I will be seeding them every year. I like how it fills out the pot, so you don't see the pot underneath, and it fills all the empty space around the flower pots that you have, or the space that you have. I just really love that combination. And more lilies that I grew indoors, started indoors. Look at the massive flower, what is this? Flower buds, yes. So I have 2 different variety. What is it? Oriental lilies and also Asiatic lilies. And there's one variety, that's the other one right there. Can't wait until they bloom, they're gorgeous. Oriental lilies is the scented one, I believe, and the Asiatic one is not. But yeah, wow. I'm so in love with all the colors. That I know it's busy, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but this is a type of gardening that I love, and I think I will continue to grow it like this. It's just something that makes me so happy to be able to wake up and see all of this color every morning when I come out here to have my tea. Here's one that I will not be growing again. I think this one is called Painted Daisy. I grew them from seeds. Really bad growing habits. It flops everywhere. It's long. You have to tame it. I have to tie it back. I don't like tying up my plants per se. So definitely one that I am not growing again. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do flowering cabbage again, to be honest. Although they're kind of pretty, but I just don't know if I love it, to be honest, enough to grow them again from seed, which I did this year. Germination is fantastic on these. Very easy to grow, but yeah, not sure if I will be adding that again next year, to be honest, sitting on the fence. Here's another one of my begonias that I absolutely love. I find this look almost like rose-like. Maybe that's why I love it so much, because I love roses. But yeah, it's very vintage vibe to it, and it's doing really good. It's in pretty much almost full sun all day, but it doesn't seem to mind it as much. I have 3 standard lantana that are here. I thought I killed it earlier this year. I kind of brought it out too early. Didn't do proper, what is it called, hardening off. Lost all of his leaves, but look, it's flushing back out. So I think it should be okay. It's going to survive. And another color, begonias that I have. This one is a pink color, very pretty. Once again, love these double flowers, double blooms. I will try to overwinter these again. I was not successful last year, but I will attempt again because I love this color. And then I think we will end the tour or the walk under my pergola here, where my wisteria is growing. I have to say, this is probably, I feel like, biggest accomplishment in terms of my gardening journey so far. I've tried to grow wisteria for like years and years, probably 10 years, and I've killed 4 of them until this one took and is growing so nicely. And I've imagined this look for years where my roses and my wisteria would meet and mingle in one area like this, and I finally been able to accomplish it. And just love how whimsical and how pretty these cascade down like this. They are almost done, so I will be trimming off the flowers because I do not want them to seed. They have I have found seedlings here and there before. I just need one. I don't need more. So I hope you enjoy the tour. And if you have any suggestions, any comments, feel free to leave them in the comments box below. I'm still learning. I consider myself a beginner gardener. And yeah, I would love to hear what you have to share.